Kajul, are you able to see the requests? Like people joining in, there is a admit request.
Yeah, I am admitting people.
Okay, so at 7:05, I'll start, and maybe you or Divya can take care of that. All right?
Sure.
Okay.
Fine.
So how is everyone doing? Like, if you want, you can unmute yourself and tell about the cities you are joining us from.
I'm from Kolkata.
Okay.
It's Shalwar here, and
Uh-huh.
like sir, one of my
Hi,
friend will also join soon
Okay.
because he is also from same city
Okay.
as I am.
hi, this is
Anybody
Parth
else?
Chavda,
Yeah,
and
Parth.
I'm joining here from Karnataka, Gulbarga. Basically, I'm from Karnataka, but right now I am doing my job in Chandigarh, Punjab.
Okay, so you're at Chandigarh right now.
Yes, right now I'm in Chandigarh.
Okay. Teja has said he can't hear me. Can anyone confirm if you guys can hear me, or is it only Teja?
Yeah, you're audible to us.
Okay. Um, so Divya and Kajul, please take care of the admitting part, and I'll start with the call of today.
Sure.
So
Sure.
okay. I guess my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. So welcome everyone for joining today's call. And today you'll get to know about how we do consulting. That's the topic of today's call. At the same time, we'll answer a lot of questions that a lot of you will be facing since it's COVID, there is quarantine, you don't know what to do. Should you go abroad? Should you not go abroad? If you go abroad, what happens? Is anybody going abroad? So we'll answer all these important questions. So we are Simplified Europe and your study abroad search starts here. Let's hope so. So today's agenda, if I can minimize it, I'll tell you that the first thing we'll talk about why study abroad in 2021. Plenty of questions all of us have. So we'll be telling you why you should actually study abroad in 2021 and the logical um, explanation for it. Probably your father, your mother, your parents will ask you like, why are you thinking about it right now? And that's the answer that you can give to them. Why simplified Europe? So why do you have to start this process with us? What do we do differently? Then we'll talk about how do we do consultation, and then we'll take some case studies of some of the students that we consulted in the last year, and when and where to start. Let's start. So why should you study abroad in 2021 is a question that created a lot of drama around GMAT, GRE, and as you know that GMAT tests got cancelled at test centers and they did go online and there was the whiteboard problem. But you know, COVID is a pandemic that has affected the whole world. And we know that it's not the first time that the world is facing that kind of recession. I was in a call with the economic advisor of Manmohan Singh some years ago. He was, and right now he's advisor to World Bank, and he told that India has the lowest GDP. The economy is falling at the rate which is highest in the last 60 to 70 years. So we understand that pandemic has contributed to it. Now, we should, if you really want to assess the situation, you should think about when did it happen last time. So it happened last time when there was 2008 recession in US. And there is a graph which actually talks about 2008. So when the recession started coming and people started to lose their jobs, what happened was you can see that whenever there is net employment rate, which is high in US, you see that number of people who give GMAT or apply to business schools or graduate schools become less. So whenever the blue peak comes, there is a trough in the red graph. And whenever there is the employment rate that goes down, a lot of people start giving GMAT. That is, they start preparing to get into a business school. So it's very understandable that we are at a place, whether you're talking about India or abroad or UK, whatever country we're talking about, we are at a place where our economies are down, employment is down. Right now, all you can think about is your employer doesn't lay you off, and if you're lucky, that will happen. But again, you can't think about promotions or bonuses this year. All you can think about is keeping your job. So this is actually the time when people think about upskilling. And that's why you'll see that Vedantu or Byju's or online learning platforms like Coursera, they have grown exponentially because upskilling is something that everybody is doing. Everybody is doing online courses. People are learning Python, data science. Plenty of stuff is there on the web, and it's too much to even talk about. So if you want to be if you want to stand out from the crowd, what you have to do is to take up a degree, and degree from a renowned institution. The institutions that we help with are always in the top 100 universities, mostly public universities, because they have the highest funding and scholarships. So that's the target that we have for the company. So I think this is enough to tell you that why studying abroad in 2021 makes sense. It is the time. If you spend in the job market, probably you will suffer a lot. If you're a fresher, it's already difficult for you to find a job. So what you can do is right now spend these 2 years in a graduate school, and when you graduate, the market will be ready for you, because right now the market is not ready to take more people. It's actually laying off people. So it's a reverse condition that we are in right now. Going forward, if I talk about why Simplified Europe, I should also talk about why we started Simplified Europe. So I myself studied abroad in Italy and Shanghai for my bachelor's, and it was on full scholarships as well. But this is not something that I anticipated. So I did go to Italy, and I found out that, okay, these scholarships exist that we don't even know about in India. And that's how it started. And slowly I got to know that it also depends on my academic performance. I started working hard, and once you reach another country, you understand that you have to get to know the culture, you have to get to know the education system, and that's how you perform better. Okay. Okay, if there is any something in the chat, please Kajol or Divya, just let me know, so I'll answer the queries, or we'll keep the Q&A session at the end. But if there is some problem with the glitches with the tech part of it, just take care of it. So that was the time when we started Simplified Europe, and last year we had the first batch of students, and we also achieved 100% success rate in helping all the students receive offer letters. Now, obviously, after you receive offer letters, the COVID came in, and the embassies got closed. So this year, it's been a decision that students have taken. We have been advisory to them, and we have helped them take this decision. Some of the students have chosen to go forward with the application. Some of the students plan to defer their admissions to next year. So if I talk about our mission is actually to democratize higher education abroad for Indian students. In India right now, we only think about a rich and fortunate section of the society that they can study abroad because it's super expensive. And I come from a middle class background, so I understand that this is probably something that I thought. And when I stepped out of my comfort zone, I researched a bit. I had that courage to step out of my country at 18 years of age, and I found out that this is possible, and a lot of people can do that. That was the point when we started Simplified Europe. So why Simplified Europe? Because we know what we do. We have done it ourselves. A lot of consultants you will see, they don't know what they're doing because they haven't been in that country. They haven't been in the place of a student. Second thing I want to talk about is that last year we had the consultation charge of 90,000. Now, this is something that we were not really proud of. 90,000 is a hefty amount, and we are talking about studying abroad on a budget with scholarships. So we worked really hard from the day one to make sure that next year we do not have that hefty charge. So this year we have slashed the prices from 90,000 to the mere amount of only 20,000 rupees. Now, this has been difficult. I would say that we are a bit the last month or last 2 weeks were very difficult for us to understand what should be the price. There was a lot of talks about keeping it 40, 50, slashing it 50%, but that was not aligning with the vision of the company. So that's why we have decided to slash the prices to 70 to 75%. And right now, what we charge is 20,000 INR for the whole consultation. So that actually talks about how passionate we are about helping students. And it's not only about the money part of the business. Our team, I think it's the time to introduce you to the team. There are 2 people from the team here right now, and there are some interns on the call as well. So we'll have a call with them later. Kajol, would you want to go forward and introduce yourself?
So, hello everyone. First of all, welcome to Simplified Europe. And as you can see, I'm Kajol Dua, I'm the HR lead here. To sum it up, I've been working with Rahul since last 10 years with a lot of projects in and out, but then since last 1.5 years, I've been associated with the company. And it has been great so far, meeting people, but there are points and areas where, I play a crucial part wherein it comes to internships, wherein it comes to dealing with the interns, their internship applications, the onboarding of people. Also, there are times when we have to critique the CV, and that's one of the crucial part. As you will proceed in the presentation further, you'll get to see it. So these are some of the areas where I play a major role. So again, welcome you all.
Thanks, Kajol. And I think a lot of people already know you. So, Divya, would you want to go forward?
Yeah, sure. Hi, students. I'm Divya, the Chief Financial Officer of Simplified Europe, and I am heading the finance, accounting, and business development functions in Simplified Europe since the beginning of the concern. So I'll be supporting you for any financial queries and also will be available to your queries for education loan. That's it. So, and it's been a great experience being in Simplified Europe, and we want your presence also being with us. Thanks.
Okay, Divya. So you'll be contacting Divya soon if you start the consultation with us because she helps with handling your finances since for us, it's all about the budget studies abroad. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go forward with the consultation process that I think a lot of people are here for. I'll just go to the screen that, okay, is it visible, the screen right now, the Excel sheet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So here is the whole process. It's a very lengthy process, so
Not
probably
visible,
will not
Rahul.
be,
Sorry to interrupt you. It's not visible.
okay, the Excel sheet is not visible. I think I have to change the screen.
Can you all see
It
it?
is visible, sir.
Yeah, of course it
Yeah,
is visible.
actually,
Okay.
And there's some
It's
visible on
visible.
my screen.
Yeah.
I think it's visible, right? It's the
Okay.
Chrome.
Visible.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with once you enroll with us, what we do is, first of all, we have a welcome and onboarding call with all our consultants. So I'm the STEM consultant. I take care of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics part of the course. But we also have the management consultants. If you're interested in the management course, or even if you're interested in a course like MIS, which is Masters in Information System, it's management plus information system. So we'll have all the consultants on the first floor, and we'll critique first of all your profile. We'll understand what do you really want to do. Sometimes students come to us and they are like, I have done bachelor's in commerce and I want to go for data science course. So there is a huge gap that we have to fill. So we have to understand your profile, and that's why the second step is profile assessment. Then we do the orientation questionnaire where we get to know a lot more about you, because the CV or resume that you already have doesn't tell us a lot about you. And then we go on to the profile gap analysis, which is actually a very important part of the process. Right now, we are seeing a lot of people shifting to computer science or IoT or data science, as you all know. So the thing is that when you apply to universities, because it's not an online course you can enroll in, you can pay a certain amount of fees. When you're applying to a European university, let's say it's a 300-year-old university with ample amount of research opportunities. So what happens is that they want to have, like, they want to see motivation. Like, why do you want to do this course? Right now, it's not important that you have a bachelor's degree in the same field, but you need to have a profile, or you have worked for 2 to 3 years as a software engineer, or you need to fill that gap. So we do help our students fill that gap. Obviously, it's through nano degrees or micro degrees, or we recommend different things. Like if you're into public policy, we'll help you with some schools in India. Actually, in Karnataka, there's a great school called Takshila, which offers public policy courses. And we have a student who wanted to go for philosophy, and this gap needed to be filled, because if you're going from engineering to philosophy, there is a way you have to convince everyone that I'll be doing great when I'll be there. So we do profile mentoring. Profile mentoring call is actually taken after the profile building, when you have a call with her industry mentor. Industry mentor is someone who works in the same field. So suppose you're interested in investment banking, we'll be connecting you with an investment banker working in London or India, Mumbai. It can be any city, but this person will be working in the same field. So if you're a bit doubtful about should I go for investment banking or let's say hedge funds, so that's the decision maker for you, this call. Then once you have your profile ready, in profile, I mean like you have your mental profile ready, because we'll be talking about SOPs and LORs later in the sheet. We draft the first list of shortlisted universities. So suppose you come up with a course and we draft the first list of universities after profiling, after assessing all your profile, because when we draft the list of universities, we understand that there are three kinds of categories that we put them in. One is ambitious, one is moderate, and one is safe university. So ambitious universities can be great universities, but at the same time, these universities, you have around 20 to 30% chances of getting in. Then there is moderate universities. Moderate universities have around 40% chances that you will be accepted there. And then we have safe universities. These safe universities, you have more than 50 to 60% chances of acceptance. And once you work on the later part of the Excel sheet, obviously the chances increase with every process that you do with us. This university list actually gets reviewed, reworked, and finalized in around 3 to 4 weeks, because there's ample amount of research that we put in making this list of universities, and then you assess yourself and you decide, should I go to this city in Germany or should I go to this city in Italy? It depends, like what kind of lifestyle do you want, and we'll always be in contact with you if you have any kind of questions. So you finalize your university list actually in the week 9, and then we go with the other documentation. Now, SOP, LORs, and SOP variants. I'll be explaining you all of these in a single way. So SOP is statement of purpose. It's a motivational letter that you write, which helps the university know why you are motivated for a certain course. And then what happens is that we take the first draft from you. So obviously you have the first draft ready, and we have multiple edits by content writers. Now, if your CV requires grammar checks, sentence structure checks, that will be done by content writer. But if you think that there is something more that you want to put in this SOP and you're not able to convey it on paper, so our content writer, he or she, right now we have 3 ladies working in the field, so they'll get in on a call with you, and you can talk to them about it and they'll write it down for you. So that's how the SOP gets finalized. The same goes for letter of recommendations. We provide you with samples, and then we do the draft and review, rework, and master LORs. So at the point wherever it's written master letter of recommendation, this is the point where you get your document finalized. And these go simultaneously. So when you're working on your SOP, you're also working on your LOR. SOP variant is something that we provide as a special service. It's actually included in the money that we charge. SOP variant actually is for students who are a bit confused about what course they want to apply. So we have a student, suppose he wants to apply to mechanical and automotive engineering. Now, pretty connected, but at the same time, these two will require different SOPs. So SOP variant will actually consider the second SOP that they want to write, and that also is included in the consultation. Then we do write essays as well. We'll talk about essays a bit later in this call, why essays are important. So in every application, you must have seen that, do you want to tell us something else? And when they say that, do you want to tell us something else? Actually, it's the great opportunity that you have to tell them something about yourself that probably your CV doesn't show them. So that's the opportunity that we grab for you, and we'll write essays for you, which make a lot of difference. And we'll talk about the difference later. University, so this is the point where you have all your documentation ready. Okay, so this is the point when we start having these focus of the month webinars. These webinars include me, all the consultants that have been in contact with you before. Most of the time we have Kajol with us, and we'll see how CFO plays role later in the planning of finances. So this is the point when you start looking at the list of your finalized university list and start applying to universities. This actually comes around 12 to 16 weeks after you start this process with us, because the first stage is profile gap analysis, profile building, mentoring, and then the whole documentation. And that's when you start with university application. This will also include the checklist that we'll give you, including transcripts, degrees, and all the samples that you will require for application. Once you apply to universities, now this is actually a 12-week process. So this is a 3-month process. There will be a lot of things happening during these 3 months along with university applications, like planning finances. So we'll have a call with Divya, who is actually working in finances for a long time. And at the same time, she has contacts with the banks that offer education loans. We have a special contact with HDFC Bank, which does not transfer all the money directly to your university, but it transfers to your bank, which is something that education loans do not really cater to most of the time. So we'll put you in contact with the right people so that you get the right services. This is probably very important for visa most of the time. So you cannot transfer all the loan if you're taking to the university, because in that case, the visa will suffer a lot. Now, these 3 processes actually are with the university: pre-enrollment, with the embassy, that is pre-enrollment, DOV, that is declaration of value, and visa applications, as we all know. These all will also include focus of the month webinars. So we'll be talking about enrollment dates and websites, the websites that you have to keep checking, the application checklist that we'll give you. The documentation guidance will always be there. On the calls, we'll provide you samples, we'll email you the samples, and we'll review your documents once they're ready. And then you will have to go personally to the embassy to submit these documents, because these three processes actually have to be done physically by the student. So depending on north part of India, you go to Delhi embassy, south part of India, you go to Mumbai embassy. If you're from the Kolkata, you go to Kolkata consulate. So depending on all these, your location, at the same time, the country you're applying to, the embassies change, and all this guidance will be given by the consultants. Then we're talking about visa applications. I think application checklist, documentation guidance, most of the process actually remains very constant. So you do not get confused around what will you do with the documents, because documentation is a huge part of the whole process. It starts with documenting your personal documents and ends with documenting the visa and stuff. Now, this is something that we do different than other people. Scholarship is actually at the center of the whole consultation process. We have studied on scholarships abroad, and that's the whole point of starting this company, that we want you to study abroad on scholarships. We don't want you to spend hefty amount of money to study abroad. So scholarship application brochures will be provided to you, because at this point you have your offer letters from universities, and you already have the university that you want to apply to. So you'll have the scholarship guidelines of that university. These universities are mostly public universities, so they do have state funding. And what happens is that there are two kinds of scholarships, merit-based scholarships. At the same time, there are need-based scholarships. So if you are someone who has a great profile, last year, like I think we had there was a girl, she was good in, like, she was in business for a long time. So there was a scholarship called Women in Entrepreneurship Scholarship. So we had this doing the application for that scholarship since it matched her profile. At the same time, most of the times we help our students get need-based scholarship depending on your family income. Now, family income, obviously, it varies from region to region, because these are state funded, so it changes with states. But most of the times, if your annual family income is less than 21 to 22 lakhs, you are eligible for need-based scholarships in Europe. And these scholarships actually take care of most of the expenses that you have, your tuition fee and everything. So we'll be talking about that probably further in the call. I think we have 10 minutes left. I'll try to cover this up in 10 minutes. Kajol, would
I
you...
also have to take questions, Rahul. So
Right. So what I was thinking is that, can you set up a new call and send the link in the chat so everybody will be able to join after we drop?
I'll do that.
Okay, perfect. So guys, if you drop out, because the call will end in 10 minutes and we have some more things to cover. And actually the most important part is case studies, where we'll talk about the consultations that we did last year. So we'll assess the profile and we'll talk about why your CGPA is important and how much important is your CGPA. So we have had students who had 58% in Bachelor's of Commerce, or people with 6 CGPA in engineering. So we need to tell you that this is probably something possible, and you do not have to settle down for a university which is not in the top rankings, even if you have a low CGPA. And that's where essays come into play, and we'll talk all about that. So please join in if you're actually interested in studying abroad in the next 1 or 2 years. It will help you a lot, and hopefully we'll be helping you throughout. So this is something that, again, we do differently. It's a pre-departure orientation. We have added this year because we have seen that most of the students who study abroad, like when I was a student, I had 15 Indian students in my first year. And the second year, I actually went for an exchange year in China, Shanghai, and I came back. And I was surprised to see that only 3 Indian students were remaining, because people don't know what they're doing. So when you go to a country and you don't understand their culture, you don't even know what language they speak, you don't know the basic language, you don't know the lifestyle, what happens is that you meet with a shock. You're met with a shock which actually is cultural, that it's a lifestyle shock, and you don't understand what you're doing, and that's when you become homesick. And sometimes these European universities do not have Indian associations to take care of you. Most of the universities do have Indian associations, most of the cities do have, but it becomes very difficult for you to connect to the culture of a city or a country. So that's why we do a pre-departure orientation, to make sure that once you go back, once you go to Europe, you come back with a degree, and you don't come back just because you're feeling homesick, because that actually will lead to more expenses than the amount of value that this will add to your career. So we do accommodation guidance, country support. We'll connect you with country support, country expert. If you're going to Germany, we'll connect you with someone who is in Germany at this point. It can be a work professional, or it can be a student. Travel brief will be given to you. So if you're traveling for the first time, obviously we understand even going through the airport can be difficult for you. So we'll help you with that as well. Language and cultural guidance remains at the center of the whole criteria, the stage. We talk to you about the language. We will guide you with where you can learn language. And if you're living in a very big city, like let's say Delhi, and there is an embassy, so embassy actually provides free language classes for German, Italian, Spanish, depends on that. So you can enroll in them. We'll help you enroll with those. Cultural guidance, we'll probably connect you with a German person on a call, so you can ask all the queries that you have, what food they eat, what, like any question that you come up with. Food and lifestyle guidance, very important. We don't consider food as important, but this is probably the question that your parents will ask you, what will you eat? And you have to answer that. So it's better if you know already what you're going to eat in that country, if you will be able to get Indian food. So these things actually are some things that not a lot of consultants pay attention to, but we understand that around 30 to 50% of students come back to India without a degree. And there is a reason for that. And that's why we have added this stage, which is probably we take it very seriously and we connect you with great people, whether it be country experts or the nationals of the country we are going. Finally, we do the document checklist check. There is a green flag that is given to you once your documents are ready and you fly to Europe. So that's the whole consultation process. Obviously, there is a lot more that we can tell you, but time is a limit. So we'll go forward with the presentation right now. And Kajol, have you put the link in the chat?
Yes, I have. I would request you all to just note the meeting ID and passcode.
Okay, so I'll have to do that as well. Okay. Okay, so I think we have around 4 minutes left. I'll still go on with the presentation. And everybody who is even a bit interested, please join in, because this is the webinar that actually right now we're talking about case studies. And so this is a guy called Shivam. I think we met him last year, and he was 25 years old. One of the concerns that he had visited every consultant in his city. He was from Chandigarh, and he was denied consultation services. The only reason for that was that he had 5.8 CGPA, which is pretty low if you talk about top universities in Europe. He wanted a computer science major with minor in Internet of Things, IoT. Now, he was very serious about the course. He was good at computer science. He did his BSc, and there was like pretty good profile. But all that stopped him from studying abroad was his CGPA. And none of the consultant in his city, like Chandigarh is a big city, nobody was ready to help him, because they were like, you can't get in. You can't get in a private university with that score. So when he came to me, I had one question, like, why is your CGPA 5.8? Like, there cannot be not a reason, because you don't get 5.8 CGPA just because probably you were just fooling around, or there was a reason. So he told me that he had a single mother, and from 10 years of age, he was the person responsible for the whole household, and he had a younger brother as well. So he was working 2 jobs since he was 10 years old. When he was doing his BSc, he was still working, and probably all the time that he get during the night, 2 or 3 hours, he used to study for his exams. So that was the reason that actually led him to get 5.8 CGPA. And if you put yourself in that situation, 5.8 is actually a great score. So it's almost 60% first division. It's a great score, but the university doesn't know that until you tell them. So universities don't ask you all these questions, but most of the universities do provide you a section where they ask you, do you want to tell us anything else? Or they will provide you an email where you can tell them about whatever that is not included in your CV. So that's what we did. We actually had set up a call with the content writer. She talked to him. They talked on a very personal, I will say, because we have to ask the right questions to you. So she asked questions, he answered, and that's how we came up with the final essay. That was the master essay. And I still remember that it was a great essay. It was emotionally appealing. It was technically appealing. It was everything that he had done great in the last 10 years. Now, this essay was attached to his application, and we applied to 5 universities. Now, I'll be very honest with you that he received 4 rejections. Now, rejections are very common. But at the same time, you have to understand that these 5 universities, there was a category of ambitious universities, moderate universities, and all the universities that probably will work for him. But CGPA is actually something very important that all the European universities look at. I think in March, I got a call from him, and he told me that he got the acceptance from University of Calabria. Now, University of Calabria is actually a 300 to 400-year-old university. Great amount of research opportunities. Internet of Things is big right now, and you need to go into a university which has a history of 300 to 400 years, because you need to have all those opportunities, research labs to actually work in the field. So this was actually one of the cases that we handled, and it was a learning experience for us as well. And that's when we started actually writing these essays for most of our candidates. And what we saw is that there is increase in acceptance. Like, we understand that you will at least receive one acceptance letter, and that's something that we have experienced in the last years. But I'll say that um, if we use some more techniques, what happens is that you get a lot more offer letters, and you have a choice to choose between these universities. If somebody has joined now, there is a link in the chat. Please join the new Zoom call, and I think we'll start from here there. So see you soon.
So you all can join the new meeting.
Right.